Metroid Samus Returns is Metroid in its purest form. With only the sparest story accompanied by the hunt of the jellyfish-like aliens, you'll scour the planet of SR-388, uncovering all sorts of secrets, enemies, and new abilities. In less capable hands, Samus Returns would feel almost too simplistic in its design, amounting to nothing more than another version of what we've already seen. Yet developer Mercury's team has such a solid understanding of the series' identity that the game ends up being a lean and intense return to form, rather than a meek imitation. New additions are integrated seamlessly, and all of the expected hallmarks are executed well. It's been years since the last proper Metroid, but Samus Returns helps make up for lost time. Although the game is a reimagining of 1991's Metroid 2 Return of Samus, there's so much that's completely new. The basic structure, however, remains relatively the same. Samus arrives to exterminate the remnants of the parasitic species, and a counter ticks down for every Metroid killed. Outside of a very brief introduction and explanation of the most basic game mechanics, Samus Returns is intent on getting out of the player's way. You're free to explore as you see fit, with no lengthy cutscenes, expository dialogue, or unnecessary hand-holding. Through careful exploration and liberal experimentation, you'll naturally learn how to navigate the intricate corridors and exterminate the various hostile lifeforms. It's remarkable how efficient the game is with space. Every new ability is given sufficient room to show its usefulness without becoming too redundant or drawn out. The areas evolve logically, ramping up in complexity in terms of both layout and enemy variety, without becoming overwhelming. The balance between freedom and purpose is due in large part to the very intelligent way the map is handled. You'll quickly unlock a scanner that emits a wide pulse, revealing the surrounding area on the map, as well as destructible sections of the nearby environment. Such a tool makes it very difficult to ever feel at a complete loss. At the same time, it makes finding the many missile and energy tank upgrades a little too easy in a lot of instances. While some upgrades require considerable work to get to, many don't take a lot of effort precisely because you know exactly where they are and what blocks need to be destroyed to get there. It's okay that the scan pulse is so useful, but it would have made for a stronger overall game if the secrets were just a bit more devious as a consequence. Considering how large these areas are, it still feels like an adventure as you slowly reveal small chunks at a time, and there's a constant sense of momentum. Paths also typically branch off in completely different directions, ensuring mystery about what lies at the end of any particular route. Samus Returns doesn't neuter the joy of discovery unearthed through aimless wandering, but rather sharpens it by constantly giving you something to strive for. Scanning is just one of several new Aeon Abilities, which all use a shared resource pool. The benefits of all these abilities are quite valuable and remain so throughout the game, such as lightning armor that absorbs damage, increases the melee counter range, and allows you to traverse especially hazardous environments. Deciding how to use the Aeon gauge, be it for combat or exploration, is difficult, but never so tedious that it becomes a burden to manage. It's just costly enough to make you care about what you're doing and when. Melee counterattacks are arguably the most dramatic of the new additions. Most enemies, including bosses, will flash and dash toward the player, giving you a small window to counter. If successful, the enemy becomes vulnerable and much easier to eliminate. It's a mechanic that could have been overused, yet, like most other things in Samus Returns, countering is implemented exceptionally well. In most one-on-one situations, it's almost always worth an attempt, since it's generally the fastest way to kill something. Among multiple enemies, though, a more careful approach is required. Countering one foe potentially leaves you vulnerable to another. Countering a boss is easily the strongest way to do damage, but such openings don't come often, making those rare opportunities feel momentous when you succeed, and crushing when you don't. The biggest failing of Samus Returns is unfortunately one that's hard to let go of. At first, facing off against the Metroids is both exciting and a little stressful because of how effectively the encounters build up. As you get closer to a Metroid, a tracker beeps more frequently, creating a slightly frantic tone. It's so disheartening then when these moments start to get mundane. Because of the sheer number of Metroids you need to kill, the once intimidating battles lose nearly all of their thematic power because of how similarly so many of them play out. The battles do change, especially toward the end, but these mutations occur too slowly. Speeding up their frequency, evolving them more dramatically, or simply having more permutations would have gone a long way in maintaining a strong and threatening presence. From a presentation standpoint, the look, sound, and general atmosphere of Samus Returns are fantastic. Skulking through crumbling ruins only to hear the cry of a Metroid in the distance lends a perfect level of dread and hesitation while descending deeper into the planet. The enemies look both grotesque and charming in their own way, with jagged teeth jutting out from bright neon skin. Backgrounds are exceptionally detailed, with all manner of mechanical and organic things. Updated versions of classic Metroid songs kick in at just the right moments, providing the perfect boost of motivation to overcome whatever obstacle is standing before you. There's nothing groundbreaking in Samus Returns, no element that strays too far from what established Metroid as a series all those years ago. Yet there doesn't need to be. For all of its imitators, nothing has ever completely captured what makes Metroid the captivating series that it is. There's a mystifying quality that sparks a natural desire to see what strange things are waiting to be discovered. Mercury Steam seems to understand this, and has provided a striking reminder of how powerful Metroid can be. Easy Allies reviews are made possible by generous viewers just like you. If you like what you see, check out patreon.com/easyallies to see our other videos. And consider becoming a patron to help us make more.